God, I'd love that to be the problem, because then I can say I found it. Morning YouTube and the internets, or good evening YouTube and the internets, whatever it is, wherever you are. It's certainly evening here. Last night, got all the valves out of the head. They're all fine, nothing wrong there unfortunately. And I also checked out this, which is the VCT solenoid variable cam timing, and there's nothing in there that could possibly make any mechanical noise. And I've looked at it for like 5 minutes today. And how it works is it changes the oil pressure going into that cam journal basically, and then that does stuff in here. So I'm going to pull this apart. I had to pull this off it just to get it off the head to break down the engine, but I didn't pay much attention to it apart from just pulling it off, pulling the bolt out, and then reassembling the sub-assembly and storing it. So now I'm going to have a look and see if I can figure out how that does that, and if I can figure out how it does it, I'll be able to investigate whether or not it's possible that there's something in there that could make that noise. So it's a weeknight, and progress is very slow during the week because I work till about, say, on average 4:30. Sometimes I get to leave work as early as 4. Sometimes I stay as late as 5. On an average-ish sort of day, unless something weird happens. By the time I get home, cook dinner, check some emails, do some general adulting, it's like 7 o'clock, and right now I think it's about 7:15, and it's the first chance I've had to get down in the garage, and that's going to be a repeating theme. That's why I've gone all the effort of installing all this lighting before starting this job, because I'm going to be down here in the dark a lot after work. So we'll get our 4 screws off. Right, so we've got that plate and this spring. Put it the correct way. There's a moving part. It's a sort of bush or washer. Certainly not enough play in that to make any noise though. So that is not our culprit. We've got a groove in the inner gear there. Very interested to know how it works, even just for my own education, even if it's not the cause. I'd like to know how. It looks like we've got some M10 bolts in there. Alright, so I took the 4 M10 bolts out of that. The battery died. It's not going to last much longer either. That comes off. I can't tell from investigating the assembly how this works and how this creates variable valve timing. What I can tell is nothing is loose enough to cause that noise. There's definitely no movement in anything. Not anything mechanical anyway. I think it's like a pressed assembly where that is pressed inside that, probably an interference fit, and that holds everything together. And when it's under load, it's got load taken up in other places. That's my theory. I'll probably Google it at some point. Google it yourself. But that is not the cause of the knock. I thought, about it overnight, thinking, well, if this is the bit that moves, which is what I thought it did, and I think it does after looking at it today, then this is where the knock would be. And a new development, maybe part of it. So last night I left all the shims, washers, whatever you want to call them, in there. And this end one here, number 1, if you have a look in there, you'll see that on the left, there's like little marks and nicks on the top side of whatever is in there. It doesn't look like there's a washer. It looks to me, cut the camera in there and the light, you can see those lines radially coming out. None of the others have that. All the others are flat, but it's different to everything else. And if it's different, I need to look at it and then figure out whether or not that could have been the cause for the noise. I never thought it was in the head, really, but I couldn't find anything in the block or on the crank journal or anything like that to make the noise, so it's as good a culprit as anything right now. Alright, so these are a bit of a bitch to get out. These are I'm going to say they're washers and not shims, because I believe their purpose is probably just to stop the hard steel springs, valve springs, eating their way into the nice soft aluminium head. But with a magnet, and one where there's one still in it, if I can get down there, I can just get this magnet down there, jiggle it, and then give it a touch with that, and it's sticking to them. I have actually turned this head upside down in an attempt to try and make them fall out, but they wouldn't. So I'm not hooking it with this, I'm just tapping them to free them up, and it seems to be working. And we're going to find out quick smart what is at the end here, because I'm just about there. So they all take a different amount of jiggle. If you watch this here, hook it, there we go. It's rotating, so if it rotates it might come out. Whoa. Now I wonder if that's supposed to be like those and it's just been mushed out of shape, because that would certainly make that noise. God, I'd love that to be the problem, because then I can say I found it. Certainly does not want to come out. Does spin. Does come out. Okay, so it could just be the case that number one, because these grooves are too perfectly radial, I think, unless they were caused by the spring bouncing around. Even then I think they'll be more randomised than that. I won't know until I do some googling and find out if there's supposed to be a different washer. Washer in number one on the intake side, because it's different. Anyway, that's how I'm fishing them out. I'll bag these up as intake spring washers. Actually I'll just stick them in the intake spring bag. Do the other side, should be the same. Let's just do one real quick, make sure they're no more difficult. There's every chance that down there is slightly different geometry wise and the magnet's not getting as close. I'll get these put away and then I'll have a crack at those. Okay, this is that last washer. It is very different to its mates. Let's grab one. These are all identical. The thickness is quite different. The diameters are different. The ODs are different. The IDs are pretty much the same. I'd say the ID is marginally smaller because of how much more difficult it was to get out. It's got these markings which I showed you before. But now, interestingly, this side up, that was facing down, because as we know we had these radial lines sticking out, so I'm going to have to figure out what's going on here and then ponder if that's capable of making that noise. It's also got a little bit of rust on it, which it shouldn't do because it's sitting soaked in oil, so further investigation pending. I don't think that's a likely culprit for the noise, but it's the only thing I've found that's not pretty much perfect so far. So we'll see what we can do. I pulled out the valve seats. I was calling them the washers. I don't know why. I knew what they were called. I just had a minor stroke and couldn't remember. The valve seats out of the side. I had to go shopping and buy a magnet that I can destroy to get the valve seats out of that side. Yeah, and then that's the head strip. I've still got the half moon seals in there. There's no reason to take them out. Doesn't look all that great there, does it really? Alright, I've gotten a couple of these valve seats out of the exhaust side. I went shopping and I bought another one of these. And then I got my old one of these. And I took the end off it and I cut it like that. A point to get down inside there, and it's not worked. So how did I get these two out? Well, what I'm doing is I'm just throwing some air in there. There's still oil in there, and it's unseating the valve, the valve seat. If you look down there, you see that valve seat is completely dislodged, and that's about as good as it's going to get. Usually all it does is just unseat it a little bit, which is enough for this to do its job. Alright, so pretty much the same as the first side, just a little bit harder, because they are a little bit deeper. The machining recesses are definitely deeper. This one up to. Alright, so I'm going to cut one of these valve seats out of the side. I'm going to cut it like that. A point to get down inside there, and the towels to stop the oil spraying back in my face.